welcome and welcome back to The Whole Bucket. I am Cheryl. This is The Whole Bucket. Today is Zebra Talks. I don't remember what number, but we're going to talk about spoon theory. And as you can see in my little words thingy, also some toys. So, yeah, I got nothing. I'm just going to switch this little thingy right here and actually switch it to this, not that, this thingy right here. And excuse Mr. Malik's nose. We're going to put the Zebra Talk book away for a second, and I'm going to move the camera out because I want to show you some stuff. So this that I'm grabbing is a sheet of all of the Zentangles that we learned in the beginning of the book. So there's examples of all the different ones that we've done. Today, I'm going to start showing what happens when you take these things a step further. And later on, I don't know when it is exactly, but it's coming up. I'll be showing you how to use them as kind of a self-therapy and kind of a meditative practice, and what kinds of things you can end up with if you just do it and keep doing it. So I have right here some toys. This is the toys part of spoons and toys. I have a set of charcoal pencils, as you can see. This is a rather inexpensive set. In fact, everything that I'm showing you right now is inexpensive, and I got it on Amazon. You don't need any of this. You need a piece of paper and a pencil. That's it. You want to go the next step? You need a piece of paper, a pencil, and a pen. You want to go the next step? Okay, a piece of paper and a pencil and a pen and maybe some crayons or markers or, a color thingy. If you want to follow along with what I'm doing, you might want to get some variation of what I'm going to show you right now, including this, the chalk. You don't need a 24 chalk set. They do sell them in just black and white with just a couple of each. They do sell them in much smaller sets. Like I have another set that is just skin tones, people tones. I think there's a blue one and a green one in there too. I'm not sure why. But they do go through all the browns and the peaches, and some lean to the yellow and some lean to the pink, right? So it's got all of those shades in there, and is really a great place to start. You can do all kinds of things with skin tones that don't involve having to do portraits. Anyway, charcoal pencils is one thing that you'll see me using. I'm going to set that one aside for a second. This is two little packages of the exact same thing. So this is a brand called Bianyo. And this is what it says right there, sketch liner. So these are drawing markers, right? These are just like micron pens, but they cost significantly less. So Bianyo is the brand that I use most often because I'm not made of money. Okay, that's ridiculous. You don't have to be made of money to use micron pens, but they are more expensive. So, I'm not sure what's happened here, but this looks like more than one set. This looks like I maybe put two sets in one package. Let me take a look if that's true. Wow, it might not be true. No, this is all one set. So this is all one set. This probably cost me like between $10 and $15. It didn't cost that much. It depends on if you find them on sale or not, and if they're in stock or not, because lately I've been running into supply problems. here is more than one set. And a pencil. This is the black set that is exactly the same as the brown set, size-wise, right? Like what the pens are. And as you can see, a colored set that goes along with it. I think, so if you look on Amazon, you can buy these Bianyo pen sets. Like I said, fairly cheaply, but you can buy just black or just sepia or just colors. Sometimes, if you can find them available, you can buy a set that has all three, or a set that has black in color, or a sepia in color, whatever. The size of the kit you get and how many colors are there doesn't matter at all. Just do what you want to do. Invest what you want to invest. If you're liking the Zentangle thing and you think you want to do it as a meditative practice, then I am thrilled to pieces, because you will not go wrong giving it a try. If you're like, I don't want any of this, then don't do any of this. just don't. Okay, so that's those. I'm going to keep the colored ones separate so I can grab things easier. And then the last thing in here is this little kit full of, this is actually only half of what came in here, because I have a separate kit for my studio and a separate kit for my bedroom. So when I am bedridden, I can still draw, doodle, whatever. So it comes with this. This has its cover still on it, but this is a sandpaper pad on a little paddle, and it's used to sharpen these. And these are called tortillon, or blending stumps. I don't like either name. No. So I'm going to call them a blending stick, because I'm weird like that. But look how many sizes there are. And like I said, it came 2 of each, right? So it comes with all these different sizes, blending sticks, blending stumps. It comes with a kneading eraser. I think it came with 2 of those as well. And it came with 2 of these sharpening sticks. And we're going to use this today, and I'll show you, we're going to use these today, and I'll show you how cool they are and the fun stuff you can do with them. Again, don't need them. They go with the charcoal, so if you choose to do the charcoal, you might want to get this. If you don't want to do this, but you do want to try the charcoal, get a couple of charcoal pens or a small kit in just a few colors, and use Q-tips. Q-tips will work. Your fingers actually will work too, except mine are too fat and don't get into the spaces I want them to, and they end up making a big fat mess. So, there's that. But that is what you can find. I don't know what brand. Wait a minute. AGP Tech. AGB Tech. No, AGP Tech. I don't know. That's all it says. So again, on Amazon, fairly cheap. This is a very inexpensive hobby to get into, and it's great for your brain. So I'm liking it. It's good for my brain. Okay, so I'm gonna set the toys aside. You will see them pop out when we get into the actual Zentangle part of the day. And we might actually end up more Zentangle than journaling at all, because we're going to talk about spoon theory today. And spoon theory does not have a whole lot of writing that will be necessary, I don't think. I mean, things in this workshop practice have been turning out different than I thought they would be. So I guess I don't really know if I will have a lot to write down or not. But as you know, some pages have ended up with just a word or two. Some pages have ended up with lists, and I had to stop because that was enough. Yeah. So let's find our page for spoon theory and start talking about what it is. What am I doing here? I kind of forgot which Zentangle I was going to demonstrate this stuff on. And I think I don't know what I intended before, but I think I'm going to try that ferny looking one because I think it will demonstrate the best. I think it will demonstrate the best about these toys and how they work and why you might or might not want them. So let's start with getting out a few words about spoon theory. And I'm going to start with a pencil today. So if you want to try this with me, if you're doing this Zentangle thing a bit with me, let's pull the camera back down too, actually. And straighten it out because it's all lopsided. If you're doing this with me, right, and you don't want to expand, then everything we do can just be done with pencil, and that's fine. So I'm going to start drawing some stuff as we start to talk about spoon theory. So once upon a time, there was this woman who lived with chronic illness, and she had a very good friend. And her very good friend wanted to understand, but didn't really understand the challenges of living with chronic illness or chronic conditions of some kind. And so she was trying to figure out how to demonstrate to her friend what it's like. And what she did, because they were sitting at a cafe together, and what she did was she grabbed a bunch of spoons. So, I mean, I have funny pictures in my head about her, like, going to every table or going to one of those big silverware trays that restaurants have before they divvy them out, right? And just grabbing the pile of spoons. And she said, okay, here's your spoons. And so she handed her friend all these spoons. And I keep drawing this design wrong. She handed her friend all these spoons and she says, okay, these spoons represent energy. So here are your spoons, and this is for your whole day. This is all the spoons you get. This is all the energy you have to do all the things you need to do throughout your day. Now, what do you do when you first wake up in the morning? And I don't know. I don't remember the story exactly, right? So I'm not verbatim here. Please don't assume I'm quoting. But the gist of it is the friend said, well, I, get out of bed and I make coffee and then I take a shower and brush my teeth and get dressed and I go to work. And, okay, back up. What did you do first? You got out of bed. Okay, give me a spoon. She took a spoon. Then you made coffee. Give me a spoon. Okay. And then you took a shower and brushed your teeth. That's 2 spoons. And you had to get dressed. Give me a spoon. And then you went to work. Well, that involves a few steps. Maybe you made a lunch, whatever. Okay, well, we won't worry about the details. Just give me a spoon. We'll just count out 1 spoon. So she went through a similar sort of thing, right? Where she was demonstrating that the physical things you do in your life require energy, and you only have a certain amount. And how much you have is dictated, well, she wasn't demonstrating that part yet, but how much energy you have is dictated by various things in any person's life. So, the friend ended up, they did some demonstrations about What do you do if you're down to the end of the day and you still have to do, prepping something for tomorrow's day, and then you still haven't washed the dishes and you wanted to read a book or whatever? What do you do if you're down to one spoon? This is all the energy that you have left. But there are 5 things still on your list to do that day. What do? Well, you're going to have to make some choices. Duh. Right? You got to make some choices. Okay, so that's like an initial demonstration of how spoon theory works. Spoons are energy. Everything you do during the day takes energy. What if 1 unit of energy is used up just by putting on a sock? Also, what if instead of a drawer full of spoons to operate your day, what if you only get 10 spoons for the whole day? Now, what if you're a person who only gets 10 spoons for the whole day and it takes 1 spoon to put on 1 sock? I hope that I'm explaining this in a way that you're starting to get the picture. So spoon theory is just a way of demonstrating and talking about your functionality. Anybody could use this theory, right? Anybody in the whole wide world could use this theory, chronic condition or not. Most people who do not have some sort of underlying issue have plenty of spoons to get through their day, and they don't have to think about it. But they could. They could stop and think about it. Oh, wow, energy in my day is an expenditure, and I never have to think about it. Maybe you are wealthy in your spoon department. Could be. I know a lot of people who are wealthy in the spoon department. I'm not one of those people. Some people can have a small spoon deficit. Some people can have gigantic spoon deficits. People like me have a fluctuating spoon situation. I think actually, to be honest, everybody has a fluctuating spoon situation, right? Okay, so that's what spoon theory is. Spoon theory is a way of measuring and communicating about energy and how we function in a day. So how can we use that to help us? Well, one of the very most important things is how it was developed in the first place, right? We can use it to communicate to people who do not have the same issues we do and to help them understand what the heck is going on in a real way. So obviously, we don't measure energy by spoons, so I don't mean a literal real way, but a way that has a physical component that demonstrates a concept in a tangible, visible, or even just thinkable thing. Everybody can relate to holding a handful of spoons. And then what happens if I take one away every time you do a thing, and what happens if you run out? Pause. I'm done with my pencil. If you are strictly doing this with pencil, I will get back to the pencil, so skip this next part. If you decide that you want to move on to pens, I'm going to actually use the black ones today. And here on the ends, They have numbers and letters. They're not complicated, I swear. The bigger the number, the wider the felt. And the ones with letters, this is chisel small. CM is chisel medium. BS is not what you think it is. It's brush small. BM is also not what you think it is. It's brush medium. Anyways, I'm going to pick a medium size felt tip. So I'm picking the 0.5, half a millimeter. And I'm just going to follow those lines I made. And the reason I made them in pencil first and then I follow them with my marker, completely unnecessary step. But the reason I do it is because if I make anything that I'm not happy with, I can adjust it then with the marker. Then I make mistakes with the marker, and I'll show you how you can fix that later too. Okay, back to spoon theory. So one of the most important ways to use spoon theory is communicating with family, friends, caregivers, etc. Even hopefully bosses and coworkers and that sort of thing. Like, whatever, let's not get into that conversation. Anyway, so another thing that's super important about spoon theory, and another really important place to use it, is in management of your own day. Do some self-assessment. How many spoons do you have? How many did you wake up with? How many do you have now? How many things do you have that you have to do in your day? How many things do you have that you would like to do? How many things do you have that are completely optional? Yeah. So those are the two biggest ways to use spoon theory. Self-monitor. Do checking in with yourself on a regular basis. And communicate with anybody in your life that's willing to hear and learn and understand. Spoon theory is really good, and I did talk about why it's really good already, so I'm just going to reiterate. Having a tangible thing that everyone can either picture in their head or hold in their hands, which would make it tangible. The imagery is probably not tangible. I'm going to ponder my choice of words. But I go off on the weirdest tangents. I'm not going to find my way back. That's one of the best things about it. Okay, that it's just a real way that is easy to understand of communicating energy use in a human being. It's not like we have a gas gauge that says full or empty and it just displays for everybody to see. And there's no clear way to fill it back up either. Once your spoons are gone, man, they don't come back till, well, that changes all the time too. Anyway, what's not so great about spoon theory? Well, I just sort of demonstrated something that's not so great about spoon theory. First of all, it's hard, unless you practice it on a regular basis, I suppose, it's really hard to gauge how many spoons you have at any particular time. Second of all, it could vary so much. For instance, I might wake up in the morning feeling perfectly fine and think that I have a drawer full of spoons. Well, then I might eat something that disagrees with me and sends me off into a reaction, and all of a sudden I've dropped all my spoons and I'm unconscious for the rest of the day. I want my spoons back. Yep, I pout just like that. Sometimes I pout just like that. Other times I might think that I have a drawer full of spoons, and I get very excited about finally being able to function, and I will do entirely too many things, and I'll use up that day's worth of spoons and the next day's worth of spoons, and that's when I cause a crash. And then I'm not just unconscious for the rest of the day, then I am almost literally unconscious, right? Not just a non-functioning, I dropped my spoons, whatever, rest for the rest of the day kind of thing, but a non-functioning human being level of exhaustion. Lost my spoons, wasted my spoons, frittered away entirely too many spoons because I felt really good. Another way that I fritter away too many spoons and pay a huge price is adrenaline rush. If I get really excited about an art project or a house project or a conversation even, if I get adrenaline and emotionally involved in anything, right, in a positive way, negative ways will drain me more. Positive ways will give me energy and boost me, and I won't be aware of how many spoons I have. I'll feel like I have a drawer full of spoons, but really I only have 4. So then I blow it again. So the down point of spoon theory that I'm trying to demonstrate here is that it's a very imprecise theory. Measurement. Tally. There's just no precision in it. And where you're at any particular time can change. The variables are insane. I think, though, that if you practice spoon theory often enough and long enough, and I do not use it nearly enough, I don't, so I don't know this, but I would imagine, and this is where I'm hoping to find out and get to at some point, but I would imagine that if you really assess yourself on a regular basis, that you're going to come to a place where you know how many spoons you have within a standard deviation. So maybe I claim I have 10 spoons, the standard deviation of plus or minus 4. So I might have 6 spoons, I might have 14 spoons, but I'm going to call it a 10, right? Okay, so I would think that you get to that point. I would think that you know roughly where your spoon count is. And that if you stay on a nice even keel, which again is where I am supposed to try to get to and what I'm trying to get to, that you're going to learn more consistently what spoon theory is for you and what your spoon count is. And what happens when you crash? How do you recover spoons better or worse or whatever? What does catching a cold do to your spoon situation? Here's something that it helps outsiders learn. So outside of yourself, I mean, not outsiders like I don't like you, you're not in my clique. Okay. So here's something that it helps. All of us with chronic health issues or whatever it is that limits our ability to function in the world, right? Come to this place where we are seriously judged by some outside people. Unfortunately, it is often a relative of some sort that's gonna just say to you, well, you're just lazy. Get off your butt and do something. Well, why don't you I've told you before, I always got, you should just do more exercise. Really? Oh, God. My desperation. And every time I heard that, oh, whatever. Okay. So anyway, I am not saying ever that exercise isn't good for people. Even for me and people like me, holding still and never doing anything is a bad idea. If you have tried more conventional things, even if you don't have a diagnosis that puts you in the zebra department, right? But you still feel like something is weird. If you do all of the regular things, like you try to eat better, you try to lose weight, you try to maintain weight, you try to do exercise on a regular basis of some sort, hopefully by doing something that you really like doing. That's the best way to get exercise. But barring that, at least some moving, right? If you do all those things and it's not working in some way or another, put yourself in the zebra category and try to figure out what works for you until you can get some health people on board to tell you what the heck's going on. Just my words of advice there. And now I've completely lost what I was saying. Oh, yeah. So I don't think, I was going to say that this is a good way to describe, spoon theory is a good way to describe to them what's going on with you and why you can't, what they're saying to you isn't going to work for you because you're not a horse, you're a zebra. And your spoons are different than their spoons. And you don't have very many, or they get sucked up really fast, or both. But then I was thinking, you know what? They don't really listen anyway. Make an effort to explain this stuff to those negative people in your life. And if they don't listen, I don't know what to tell you because it's not always easy to just blow off those people, but you need to try to blow off that crap. I actually had a person in my life who was at a store with me and my leg quit working and I needed to go home. Like, I was limping pretty severely because I couldn't get my leg to move the way I needed it to. And I was in pain. But the bigger problem was I couldn't get my leg to move properly. And the person I was with started to move away from me and said, "Can't you just stop that? People are looking." That is also not verbatim. I think it might have been something along the lines of more like, "Can't you just walk normal?" Or not verbatim in any case, but that was the attitude that was said to me. Not even kidding. Not even joking. Not even misunderstanding. I am a person with a chronic health condition, and someone in my life thought it was a good idea to shame me because I couldn't walk. I can't. I am not saying that to you because I want anyone to think anything special about me in particular. I am saying that because I'm hoping that anybody who is watching this video understands that if these things have happened to you, you are not alone. And if you are not a person who has these issues, this is the kind of thing that people with our issues deal with. Here's another thing I'd like to say about that, is that I don't think that Okay, zebras are unique in their health conditions and probably some other stuff too, like all humans are unique. But I don't think this makes us any kind of special, like, oh, you should tiptoe around us. Oh, whatever. What I'm trying to say is that everybody's got stuff. My stuff is that I am a zebra health in the health department. Other people have other issues in their lives or around their lives or whatever. What I would wish that people take away from that is let's all be nicer to each other. Because, gosh darn it, you just never know what's going on. And if you see somebody limping, maybe you shouldn't shame them. I hope that one's obvious for most of the planet. But, you know, whatever. Okay, so, that's one of the ways that spoon theory is not so great. It's not going to fix everything. It's not going to change. There's some things that's just not going to change. And there's some people it certainly isn't going to change, right? It's not going to make all the difference in the world. So I've talked about what's good and what's not so great about spoon theory, and now I'm grabbing my kneading eraser. You use any eraser that you have, and this is the one thing that I love about the markers that I showed you, or about Micron pens, or, you know, any kind of these kind of pens, permanent drawing pens, is that I can now go in and erase those lines. Why is this so lumpy? I'm getting this paper clip out of here. There we go. I can now go in and erase the lines that I originally had in there. This kneading eraser is not very good. I'm sorry about all the wiggle. Anyway, now I can go in and erase the lines and the marker isn't touched. So I can put guidelines in for myself and then go in and not worry about my art getting messed up. Now, again, if you don't have these markers, do this with your pen or pencil, right? And if you didn't have a marker to do this step, then just go over it with your pencil again and refine your lines. Take your eraser and erase any little bits that you didn't like and put in parts that you do. But really, a Zentangle isn't about correcting. It's not supposed to be. Whatever. Okay, so again, this part that I'm going to do with a colored pencil marker is just to show why you might or might not want a colored marker set or markers or drawing pens. If you don't have them and or don't want them, do this part with pencil too. Yep. Okay, so spoon theory, not a perfect model, but pretty darn good. I certainly haven't learned anything better. So how do you use it? For yourself, measure your spoons on a regular basis. I am going to talk about life hacks in a different video coming up, but I actually have a spoon life hack. I have Echo devices in my house. One of them has a routine to help me function in the morning. It starts what I call the coffee hour. So it is an hour, the very first hour of my day, that is just meant for the basics. It's where I feed the cats. I make the coffee. I try to function. I try to wake up. Just the very, very, very basics, right? But there's this part at the end of my coffee hour where, you know, she comes back on my Echo device and she says, coffee hour ending is imminent. assess spoon inventory. And I think that's 10 or 15 minutes before my coffee hour is over. And it just reminds me to start paying attention. How are you feeling today? What do you want to accomplish today? Which is another thing I should be thinking about during the coffee hour. What do I want to accomplish today? How am I going to break up my day? I try to do my exercises in the coffee hour. I've been failing. Oh, big surprise. What else? What else? Oh, and then 10 minutes when my coffee hour is literally over, she comes back again and says that the coffee hour is over. Time to start being a people. So to whatever level I've decided my spoon inventory allows, I begin my actual functioning part of the day, if I'm lucky enough to get one. I don't think everybody needs that hack, but it's something I use and it's starting to help me. If you don't need a computerized device telling you how to operate your day, it still is going to do you some good to pay attention to where your levels are at and to start learning energy levels. And how much energy does it actually take to do a thing? There's another thing that not personally me, but internally for everybody, that's another thing that it's really good for, is that you might think that taking a shower must be just a spoon because it's just one thing, you're taking a shower, but getting your towels and getting, like, if your soap lives somewhere else, and getting your new clothes, and I can't think of all the different steps, but what if every single step of taking your shower is a different spoon for you, right? Some people can't stand up in a shower. If they have to, it's too risky for balance reasons and that kind of stuff. So then they have to get a chair. But what if that walking to the shower or getting out of the shower when is like super risky, right? Because if you have balance problems, your feet are wet and you're slippery and it's risky. And it takes extra muscles and extra effort to keep you up if you have balance issues, right? So maybe taking a shower is a really, really big spoon waster. Not waster. User. Waster. Oh. Never shower again. It's just a waste of your spoons. That's one thing, that how to use your spoons. Make your assessments. Another thing to remember while you're using your spoons is that you can drop them or lose them or overspend. Some things that I said earlier, but very important to remember. So reassess your spoons throughout the day. Pay attention. To try to not get crashes, or to try to not lose out on things. That's what I was going to say earlier. That's what I lost, is that you have to say no to people, like, more often than you want to, right? And they don't understand why you can't go out to the party, or why you can't go to the family function thing, or why you can't come to the office meeting, or you just have to say no a lot. And people don't understand why. Well, okay, so I could probably come to this function thingy, right? And I kind of want to, but if I do that, then I can't give my kids their bath that night. I could go out this afternoon, but who's going to make dinner for the family? I could go out tonight, but tomorrow morning, I'm probably going to be sick as a dog. Do I really want to sacrifice tomorrow morning so I can go out tonight? Well, I mean, hopefully sometimes the answer is yes, you go out and do the frivolous thing and give up the responsible thing, but really, how often can you do that? Hopefully not very often. And people who don't have these problems don't understand them at all, folks. So don't expect that people will understand unless, of course, they listen to the spoon theory and they start to get a grasp of it, because they'll be like, well, I go out some nights and then I have to go to work in the morning and I'm a little tired. It's no big deal. Not the same thing. I remember having little kids at home. I was exhausted. No, not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Can you tell I get frustrated? These are things, my examples right now are not things that apply to me. Different things apply to me now, but they're things that I comprehend because I did have children. I was very, very sick when I had children at home, and I remember what it was like. I remember what it was like trying to raise children and be this sick at the same time. In some ways, I was even sicker at some point, at a few different points, actually. At a few different points of my adult life, I've been much worse than I am now. I'm a little worried, though. I've been fading pretty quickly. I'm not liking how much I'm losing. But that's a topic for a different day. So I have not even sharpened all these. Look, I haven't even sharpened them all. I have a different set that I have sharpened, but not this one. So I'm going to pull out the black one. I think that's black anyway. No, it's not, is it? BGY must be some kind of a grayish black. The blue one. We could actually use a green one, though, couldn't we? Whoops. I mean, because of what we're doing, let me pull a green one out instead of blue. Oh, it's sharpened too. Oh, good for us. So they're not very sharp, you can see that, and they don't really need to be for what we're doing. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a little bit of the darker color where darker bits would be. So right up here in this point would be a nice dark spot, but so would this line where this leaf right here tucks in behind this leaf, right? That's going to be a dark spot right there. And then it will be here too, where this leaf tucks behind this leaf. And then this leaf tucks behind this leaf right here. So I'm just going to put some charcoal, in all of those spots that would be darker. Again, just demonstrating why you might or might not want this. Then take your blending whatever, finger, Q-tip, blending stump, tortillon, if you want to be fancy, blending stump if you chop down a tree in the forest, blending stick if you're like me and have weird aversions to certain words. And you're just going to pull that color down. And really all you're doing is softening the line, right? Like here, it's just a line. That doesn't look like a proper shadow in there. But if I just soften it up, now it's a shadow. This one kind of looks like a shadow, but it's really harsh. Now it looks like a shadow. My shadows are really long because I put way too much charcoal on if you watch any of my other art videos, you will know that I am heavy-handed at just about everything I do. My art of any kind does not have subtlety. I might work on subtlety sometime, but maybe not. I like dark things and dark colors anyway, so, you know, it works for me. Whatever way you want to blend your colors. Oh, if you're doing this with a pencil and you want to follow along, but you don't want to invest anything else other than your piece of paper and your pencil, I will show you. Maybe. Where the heck is the pencil? Okay, I lost the pencil. I don't know how I lose things sitting in one spot, but I do. Okay, I'll just take a mechanical pencil. So I can take a mechanical pencil and just put down a little bit line of graphite and use a finger. You can see that you can smudge your line even if it's just pencil with your fingers. Of course you get messy, but I don't care about getting messy. It's my favorite way to be. Playing in all the toys. All right, so totally not necessary to own these toys to be able to follow along with this. Lastly, I'm going to take some green and put a little scribble on the edges of that shadow, the top shadow and the bottom shadow. And then pick up the blending stump again. And make it so that at least they don't look like scribbles anymore. Again, you could do this with your pencil. If you want to just do this in a regular plain old pencil, what you would do is you're going to be doing a black and white version of this, right? So you're just going to put a heavier line at the top and a lighter line as you move down. And you can layer it. So here, I'll do this. If I were doing a black and white version with only a pencil, I already put a line here and smudged it with my finger. Now I'm going to put another line there and smudge it with my finger, but I'll smudge up a little higher. Then I put another little line there and smudge up even higher with my finger. So I'm going to end up with heavier down here and lighter as I move up. There's another step to this that I wanted to show you. Unfortunately for me, the other toy that I wanted to show you and other step I wanted to show you didn't bother to show up. And we'll play with it next time, but I'm gonna quick rawr. I think I probably should have done yellow instead of white, but I'm going to show you what would be next. So if I take my white pencil and put a scribble through the middle of each leaf, And then we're going to do the exact same thing, but I'm going to take a different one. So if I sharpened this with that sandpaper paddle that I showed you, oh, this right here. If I sharpened it with that, it would be fine. But since I haven't sharpened it, it would just make a big muddy mess. So I'm going to just take out one that's already clean and blend in those white areas. If you are doing this with pencil and you don't want to go any further than pencil, what you do here is very lightly erase or use a clean finger to take out some of the color in the middle. See, it'll come back up. So then you would be taking out some of the color in the middle to create that highlight space. In this case, I just basically erased the highlight space, so I'm going to put it back in. There we go. There is the difference that all the toys can make. So again, if you want to look up those toys and maybe get some for yourself, you just need plain old paper, plain old pencil. That's it. A step up from that, plain old paper, plain old pencil, and a pen. Like, seriously, just Bic ballpoint pen, right? And if you want the toys, this is all the toys. Bianyo is the lower price. I think always. I've never seen it the other way around, but take a look at Micron if you want to. I, by the way, notice zero difference in quality. Professionals do notice a difference, but have said that it's negligible. So, for just doodling for our brain's sake, not necessary to spend the money at all, and certainly not even if you want the toys. Okay, so to finish up with spoon theory, let's just sum up all the things. An imperfect measurement of the energy that you have in any given day for all of the tasks in that day. A way of explaining to people outside of yourself how you're doing at any particular time. It has its flaws, but it's kind of the best we got. And it's not really that bad. Evaluate your spoon situation more than one time a day, right? Take a few minutes just to stop and measure, see where you're at. Try to explain spoon theory to people who are interested anyway. If people don't get it, aren't interested, or are still judgy, even after trying to understand, let them be. Let them be. It's hard to grasp concepts of things that aren't your reality. And some people just can't get there, or can't get there till later, or can't get there till they've had time to think for a long time on their own, or can't get there till it's been repeated 5,000 times. Don't bother getting mad. Don't bother having hurt feelings. Don't worry and overstress, right? Because if they don't get it, they don't get it. And it is whatever it is. You get it. And you understand it. Help yourself. Regardless of what other people around you might or might not do. Remember that you can drop your spoons. That you can overspend your spoons. That you can lose your spoons. I have no idea where I put them, which is probably what I do more often than not. I don't know where my spoons went. Couldn't tell you. Adrenaline is one of the biggest things that makes me waste my spoons. Because I finally feel good, or I am really excited about something, or whatever. Try to let those really good times not drag you into squandering your spoons. Don't steal tomorrow's spoons. You can do that too. When that adrenaline or that excitement or that activity or whatever really draws you in. Excuse me. Boy, if you squander more than just that day's spoons, boy, you put yourself in a bucket of trouble. Don't do that. Don't do that. Learn what spoons are all about and how they work for you. Okay, this has been a really long one, and I wrote nothing. I wrote nothing on this page. Hopefully you did, because I said a lot of things that are worthy of writing down, like monitor your spoons, check your spoons often in a day, don't overspend your spoons. Try to explain to other people, but don't always expect them to understand, because they're just not always gonna. Those are all things that you can and probably should have written down on this piece of paper. I didn't write a thing down, but I made some pretty leaves. Okay, I'll see you next time, and next time we are talking about, oh my goodness, motivations. Wait a minute. List the driving forces behind your spoon allotment choices. This is where you make sure you don't overspend, because all of a sudden you're super motivated. Don't overspend. Okay, bye. See you next time.